Nothing worse than like witnessing an eviction. So heartbreaking. And to like have to come home from work and see your things being put out.
Hello. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about evictions. Yes, evictions. Many people are getting evicted and they're just having tough times. The cost of living is very expensive and people are just not making enough money to be able to stay in these apartments. In this video, people are talking about their feelings, thoughts, and experiences with being evicted. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel.
This article came out yesterday, and I think it's important to note because this is one of the few times in recent history that I can remember, and I've worked in property management a long time, where it is actually cheaper to rent than buy. But that doesn't mean rent is cheap. It just means it's cheaper. And I think it's important to note that we are seeing a record number of people who are spending more than 30% of their income on rent, which is what this is speaking to. People having to live beyond their means because that's their only option. They can't buy, it's so freaking expensive, and rent is expensive. What else are you gonna do? We are seeing new record levels of evictions being processed, people living beyond that 30% kind of cutoff point. They go on in the article to say that we are seeing numbers that we have not seen since 2008 housing crisis.
Received a letter in the mail from my landlord stating that I have 3 months to leave my current apartment that I've been in for the past 8 years, and I am devastated. I was not planning on moving anytime soon, especially with how the rents in New Jersey are right now. They are just incredibly high, and I just don't know how anyone is doing it right now. I got into this apartment and it was $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom. Now it's $1,700 a month, and granted, my landlords have been gracious and they haven't been charging me every year to increase the rent price. But
the system is just set up to fail you, bruh. Please explain to me how food stamps count as my income to overqualify me for getting rental assistance. I didn't know we could pay rent with food stamps, y'all. Look, I didn't know this. So because I get food stamps, I'm gonna have to go to eviction court because they can't help me. My food stamps overqualify me because it means I have too much. When my check is only $200. I get a $200 check. My food stamps overqualify me for rental assistance.
I have to come up with $2,764 before May 21st. And today is May 8th. So I'm currently not working, and I've been looking for jobs, and I have been getting behind on bills. And it has really been affecting my mental health. With me being behind on bills and with my upcoming court date that is on May 21st, I don't know if I'm going to have a home or not. I am facing eviction. I don't have anyone that I can rely on. I don't have my mom. My mom passed away in 2018. Dad passed away when I was a little girl in probably elementary school. I have no siblings. Everyone kind of has their own family, has their own thing going on. In today's economy, people just don't have it or have the space. So with that being said, I don't know what I would do if I lose my home.
I got a court date to go to court for my eviction. Got rid of some furniture. I got some things still put up, but I tried to call Zabin, my caseworker, let me know that they don't have no money, so they can't help me no more. My income simply does not match this rent. I have no say-so where I went. I had no choice but to take this apartment because it was the only apartment that would accept me in my situation of me coming out of homelessness with my children. I tried to save as much money as possible, but I have utilities, light and gas bill that I have to pay out of my own pocket that I've been doing. Plus, I have 3 children, so, it's really hard to save money when you're, working by yourself. But long story short, I'll be all right.
Me and my kids are getting evicted out of our apartment. Let me tell y'all why while I clean up their room. If you've been following me for a while, then you know this is the apartment that we moved in back in 2022 when I moved to Georgia with only $20 in a food stamp card. Since moving into this apartment, the management has changed 3 times and I have renewed my lease twice. First time I renewed my lease was back in October of 2023. At that time, I was really fed up with living in Georgia, but I didn't plan accordingly, so I renewed my lease for only 6 months while I figure out a plan. With going from a 12-month lease to a 6-month lease, my rent went from $12.50 a month to $14.65, which was okay with me. I was completely fine with that. I just felt like they gave me an additional 6 months to figure out a plan. Okay, fast forward to April 2024. My 6-month lease was coming to an end. I had just went through a breakup, so I really wasn't pressed about moving no more. I went to the office and spoke to them about renewing my lease yet once again, but this time I wanted to go back to a full year. Y'all, why these people told me that my rate would remain at $14.65 even if I renewed for a year? So something didn't seem right to me, only because the reason they told me I was paying the extra money each month was because I was on a short-term lease.
Unfortunately, she does not post another video actually telling why she was evicted. From looking at this apartment, I'm just gonna go ahead and take a wild guess and say that she was evicted for keeping her apartment filthy. This doesn't make any sense.
Been an angel as much as I can be today in the way that I need others to be an angel for me. Trying to take care of my kids, and I'm just tired. I feel bad. I really just feel bad for my kids. This is maddening almost, but very grateful and thankful to the people who have reached out to me with resources, with connections, with money, like with food, with shelter options, even if they aren't viable. I appreciate the effort like more than I could probably ever express. It's just a lot to think about, a lot to process, and very heavy not to just bust out in tears like randomly anytime somebody asks you something like how you doing, like having to retell like the entire situation to like so many people. It's like exhausting. I know I got like word vomit anyway, but just whatever, just, and it's like the only thing I can do, like. And like my natural personality is busy, like, so of course when I'm in deep anxiety and deep despair, like I need to keep busy because I have to find a solution for this. Like
you're not going to get evicted right away. Like they'll give you 2-3 months. So, and I get it, like things happen. Because, you know, one time my baby father poured water on my laptop for work and it made me miss like a week's worth of work. And it caused me to be behind on my rent. Thank God I found a company to help me make up that back rent that I lost out on. But not everybody knows about those kind of services, and they're limited, especially out here in Georgia. So by the grace of God, you know, I happened to get one to help with that situation. But when I'm watching these people get evicted, and it's just like, yo, like, and you're clearly coming from work. It's just disheartening. I never seen it like right, like, you know, up close and personal. It's usually like, oh, they already left and they're just cleaning out the additional, like they knew the eviction was coming. But this person, it seemed like they let her know, and maybe she thought they was bluffing. Maybe she thought they was bluffing because the way, like, she was at work. And what can she do but just watch her things be put out? You feel me? What can she do? What can she really do but watch everything be put out? So I hope that she has somewhere to go. I hope that she has a situation that, you know, she can find herself in. I hope that God protects her in this journey of uncertainty.
Evictions are at an all-time high. People are really struggling just to get by each day. Thanks for watching this video. Have an amazing day.
Shalom. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash, and double honor to our apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone for teaching His truth. It's gone all around the earth, and shalom to the hope of the elect out there. It's your brother Atazawan from the Great Millstone here in St. Louis. And Salakia for the length of the clip, but I thought all of it would be important enough to keep in, all right, so that you can pretty much grasp, the state of Jake, be it men, be it women, who are experiencing, as they said, evictions, all right, across the country. And, Jake is being hit hard with this, okay? And we can see that, when it comes to our people, without a doubt, they are, now, let me just say that, hard times can fall on anybody, but I think there has been 4, 5, maybe even 6 generations of Jake here in Babylon, right, in the modern times, who've become so comfortable with living off of the government's biscuit, okay, thinking that safety net of the welfare system, okay, would never reject them, okay, and you see that most of them are young, okay, and appear to be able-bodied, where they would be able to take care of themselves and not rely on the system, even though there are those who do work, right, but for whatever reason, they don't have a job where they can sustain themselves, all right? Either way, Jake is suffering here in Babylon, okay? And it's a thing called faith, all right? And it's a gift, we know, and a lot of Jake don't have faith. They can't seem to trust in the Lord, all right? They don't know Yahweh Shem Yahushai, but they can't seem to trust that there is a power available unto them, okay, that is much greater than any state law or state benefit, is my point. They would much rather trust the state, which is really your enemy, to take care of them. That's easier. And so you're looking at a younger generation just looking really for just convenience of life, okay? And they don't expect to have adversity, okay? All right, they weren't raised and prepared for when things don't go your way. So now they're crying, all right? So anyway, we're going to get into a few scriptures to show you that faith is very important, in your daily life, okay? And that you shouldn't rely on the system. You shouldn't rely on this man. And especially for the last 15 years straight, I know for sure, okay? Since the advent of the YouTube platform, more than that, okay, 17, 18, 19 years, but some of these people, as you look at them, were extremely, very young, okay? But they haven't learned a thing, but the information of what the scriptures are all about have been on the YouTube by the men of the Great Millstone and like-minded men, the brotherhood, right, who post lessons to teach you how to trust in the Lord, how to get to know who Yahweh Shem Yahushai is, and how to put your faith and trust in them rather than in the system. Young Jake know how to get on the internet and do all types of fucking folly. They know how to do that, but you can't convince me that they haven't seen any of the Hebrew Israelite videos, right? Particularly those, again, of the men of the Great Millstone and like-minded brothers, all right? So anyway, let's just get a few scriptures. I'm not going to be long on this. Slakia for the opening, okay? This is Hebrews 13:8. It says, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, the same yesterday and today and forever. Be not carried about with diverse and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein. Okay, so if you're going to eat from the table of the Lord. all right? Because this walk is about faith and having faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and not in other gifts and trinkets and dainties that this man can throw out there and lure you in and pamper you and then pull the rug from underneath you. And then you ask, what happened? Okay? You're trusting in the wrong system. Verse 10, we have an altar whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle for the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burned without the camp. Wherefore Yahushua also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth therefore unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come, right? This is not a place where you should be putting your faith into a system, all right, that's faithless, all right? So we trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? And we look for that kingdom to come, all right? A kingdom of righteousness, okay? And while we're toiling through this torment here in Babylon the Great, we put our faith in the Lord, because this is not a place for us, you know? And through wisdom, you learn that. And you only get the wisdom and knowledge of the Lord through the correct and proper breakdown of the scriptures. All right, Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Okay, and you know, on a spiritual sense, you know, these people, these states, and authorities, and this current government, right, and particularly this administration that's in now, you know you're not going to get a fair shake now. You may have slid through the last 5 years, you know, with the other administration, all right, that Sleepy Creepy Joe's administration, right, where everybody was so lackluster, okay, all whimsical, thought nothing could happen to them, all right, that they were going to ride this train, all right, until the wheels came off. Well, guess what? The wheels have come off now. Where's your faith? This is Daniel 1:1, and it reads, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with part of the vessels of the house of the Most High, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and to the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and knowledge and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name of Belshazzar, and to Hananiah Shadrach, and to Mishael Meshach, and Azariah of Abednego. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right, along with Daniel. Verse 8, but Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuch that he might not defile himself. Now the Most High had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink, For why should he see your face? Your faces is like your worst likening than the children which are of your sort. Then shall ye make me endanger my head to the king. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuch had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servant, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give me pulse to eat and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servant. So he consented to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. The reason why I read this is because of faith, right? The children of the Lord, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right, are the children of the Lord before the king, all right, who wanted to give them his meat and his wine, and they refused it and just ate vegetables and drank water, right, to prove their one, you can get out of this, their faith, right, and it proved that their continence, that they are the children of the Lord and better suited, okay, but it takes faith, all right, in which you see a lot of these people who are being evicted, you know, not just what we saw in this clip, but you hear many, many videos of people crying about how they can't seem to manage, all right, how they're being cut off of the system, how their EBT cards don't work, how they didn't give them their $450 a month for their rent, now they're being evicted, and so on and so on and so on, right, because they're trusting in the king's meat, right, the king of Babylon, all right, that's who they're trusting in. They have no faith and trust not in the true and living power, you see. So though they may have rid, you know, or rode this carnival ride of Babylon the Great, you know, where everything was great and lovely, now the ride is over, okay? And now you have to get off of it and make the best that you can. How are you going to do it? You see, as it says here, Daniel's resolve, these people are broken. They have no resolve. They have no way to take care of themselves because they have no faith, right? So they can't stand up on their own 2 feet. They have been propped up and given a crutch their whole lives, and now they don't know what they're going to do, right? You have 3 or 4, and this is probably the worst generation. You probably had 50 to 60 years of generational welfare, lackluster, lack of trying, you know, people of, you know, 2/3 of our people, you know, you could say, you know, just grew up on the system and don't know any other way. Okay, now I'm not saying that a lot of them don't try, but, you know, they're not. Nowadays, you better have you some faith. Okay, you better have the faith that it takes, all right? And you got to get that faith through Yahweh Shem Yahushua. There's no other way. Christianity didn't do it for you, and no other fake false religion is going to do it for you. You got to come to the truth, all right? But that's hard because these people, you know, they have been so reliant on handouts, okay? And this is not to, you know, mock anybody, but it is saying, look at the state of the world, but look at the state of the condition of the people here in Babylon. And mostly, you know, the people of, you know, our people of the nation of Israel. You know, you so-called Negroes, Latino tribes, you know, you Native Americans, you know, you have no will or desire, you know. And as I said, you know, the faith is you're coming up short on faith. All right? Nobody said it's going to be easy, but if you know how to apply for benefits, how come you don't know how to, you know, apply that same energy to seeking out the Lord. Okay? Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It will destroy you, and most of these people are destroyed spiritually. Okay? And they don't know which way to turn now. All right? Even with the sword destruction. Going on, let's see, this is Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. And those who rely on the system, you will be destroyed along with Babylon. Okay? Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So this, speaking of the prophecy of this place here, all right, in Babylon the Great, it's already telling you that it's not going to be healed. So if you continue to cry and make videos, you got time enough to make videos all day about what you're going through, okay? All right? You got time enough to do that, okay? And you're thinking that, people are going to reach out to you and give you a helping hand and help you. Times are hard for everybody. So it's not likely, it could happen, but it's not likely that people are just going to set you up or give you what you need and set you up somewhere and so on and so forth. Man, the crutch has been kicked out from underneath you. When is Jake going to understand that? Okay? But you continue to look for the system to help you. This is already telling you that it can't help you. It won't help you because it's over. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone, into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Okay? It's time for this place to be judged, and all those who are outside of the protection, right, of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, you're going to have one hell of a way to go. Psalm 62:10, trust not in oppression, and that's what most of these people trusted in, right? Trust not in oppression and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them, right? So that one young lady was talking about make it make sense on how food stamps, could be part of her, income. You will increase with all these different benefits, especially the women, and now they're taken away from you. And you're on your phone making videos crying about how you can't make it. And by doing that, do you expect other people who are doing as bad or maybe even worse than you are, you expect them to help you? You're making videos, filming yourself being put out, okay? Or whatever the case may be. You should have, hey, it's a bad deal all the way around, okay? You better come into the sanctuary of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua while you still can, if at all possible. Verse 11, the Most High has spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto Yahweh. The Lord has the power to change your life, all right? There's no other God besides Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy. Where are you going to get mercy from? You think this administration have mercy for you? You think the state government have mercy for you? Right? They don't have any mercy for you. It's their plan to kick you off the system. It's their plan to make you destitute. It's their plan to destroy you and, if at all possible in their eyes, your whole lineage. Your children is coming after you. That's their plan. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. All right, we'll get one last one, and we'll be done. Ecclesiasticus Sirach 12:10, it says, never trust thine enemy, right? These people of the state are your enemy. Eventually, if you haven't been put off the system, you will be. Okay? And they may, some, and again, it's not in a sense of mockery, but you're going to go out here and get a menial job that you can't even take care of yourself on. What are you going to do? Okay? Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. Remember the words and the wisdom in this book. This is what's going to guide your path. We say it over and over and over again. The wisdom and knowledge that's coming out of this book is what's going to guide your path. Okay? But because it takes faith, most people, right, as we said, most of our people, they don't have faith. Right? They only believe in the here and now and what's tangible. Right? So anyway, I'll just stop right there. I guess that's good enough, right? These people on the system, you're going to be through. You're going to be destroyed along with Babylon, right? You better pray. You better spend a lot of time in prayer, praying that the Lord, who is and has all power, will extend to you mercy, right? That's your only way out. Shalom.